That's it.
You seen it? Got
Yes.
Okay, we got there in the end. Okay, so what you're seeing here is the Outwit Hub Pro, and I haven't gone to try out the beta version. This is still version 2, so I know it works. This is the actual standalone version of Outwit Hub as well. If you purchase the Pro version, you get access to the Firefox version and the standalone version. I don't sure whether you get that with them when you just go for the Lite. Not sure.
I think Lite is just purely standalone, if memory serves.
Right. Okay. I know they've had some problems recently with the Firefox version because Firefox keep changing things apparently. So I find it safer just to use the standalone version now.
Yeah, I've got loads of bugs in Firefox 16 that they can't seem to sort out at the moment either.
Oh, right, okay.
They're still developing 17.
Oh dear, right, okay. Well, I suspect Outwit have got the same problem then.
Yeah.
So I'd recommend everyone to use the standalone version. What we have here is this window is basically a browser window. And here is where we can put a URL. So it just works like any other browser in effect. So at this stage, that's what we're doing. We've just looked up the National Archives of Ireland, and the reason we've gone into here is I thought what I would do is tie in to one of Tessa's tutorials on Excel, which I would certainly recommend to everybody to go and have a look at. Even if you know about Excel, you will learn something that you don't already know.
By the person who's struggling through Excel.
Well, yeah, I'm learning things, and I know Excel. It's so easy to get into the detail in these programs and miss the easy bits. So, yeah, I'd recommend it. So what you did on one of your Excel spreadsheets, you went and got some information from this site on the Keo family.
Right.
And you put it into Excel and I can't remember. What did you do? I think you just did some simple things with HTML, didn't you, on it?
Right. I was just doing a search to see, you know, on the 1901 and the 1911 census, and basically they have a very simple method at their own site to download it, and I always try to take advantage of whatever's the easiest way to get the information. You know, and then thinking I could maybe, you know, go back to the census and look at information, or that's when I found out about Outwit Hub, and so I was hoping to learn more about it. Yeah. So here we go.
Here we go. Yes. Yeah. So sometimes, well, I mean, let's go into the search. To the next search page. There we are. Sometimes, when you're looking at data, it's available in more than one place. So typically, it's the 1881 census for the UK. You can find it on Family Search. You can find it on Find My Past. You can find it on Ancestry. I'm sure there's lots of other places where you can find it as well. It's always useful to go into each of those sites and see how many records show up for your surname. I tend to find they vary. I don't know why, but they do. I can only assume it's been retranscribed.
Exactly. I think when people index, depending on who you have indexed or what the companies use, that makes a difference.
You'd have thought everyone would have used the LDS index, wouldn't you, for it? But there we go. Perhaps it has been re-indexed. But it is quite useful to go through the different companies, the free ones or the paid ones that you have access to, and see how many records there are for your surname before you start scraping or trying to pull the information down. In addition to that, I do something a bit geeky as well. I always go and look at the source pages for each for each one to see on the information in the source page, is there any information that's not being displayed that might be useful that I spoke about before.
Oh, okay.
You can do it in Outwit Hub here. You just click source, And that's what you get. You get this gobbledygook. It'll mean something to Colin, I'm sure, but not to me.
Yeah. The turquoise stuff is all HTML. The purple stuff is all JavaScript.
And the black is. I know the black is what you can read on the web page.
Yeah, and black is just plain text that as you say, that's visible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to check source code to see what's behind the web page, you can do it on any browser. You normally just right-click on that web page, and there's usually something called source code. You can click to it. You're not going to do any damage to your computer, or you're going to do any damage to the program itself. Sometimes interesting to look at. Okay, so let's do some searching. We'll go at 1901. Keep it very simple. Oh. And there we have 291 matches to the Keogh surname in the 1901 census for Ireland. You'll notice here there's show more information, so we'll click that one. So here we have some information, and I think we're just showing 10 per page here. We'll go up to 100. Let's be adventurous. Go to 100. Okay, so the next thing I do here is I always look at the source code. So look at the source code. So again, anything in black is what's on the printed on the page. So let's find the first instance of the name Keogh, and there we have it, right in the middle of a load of complicated code. But it is William in Coolderry Street. So nip back there, and there he is, William in Coolderry Street. So we found the first instance of the Keogh name there. So let's have a look what isn't being printed. There's an interesting piece of information. Wonder what that can mean.
May well be their unique reference for him, or it may be for the address or something. I'm not sure.
That's it. I think. Well, you've hit the nail on the head for your second one. It's the reference for the address. So when you oops.
Yeah, because
when you click on that link there, I don't know whether you can see it right at the very bottom of the page. Now you can see the URL. It might be too.
Yeah, it's too small to see. Yeah.
Too small. Okay, so that's a useful piece of information that be very interesting if we could capture that. So let's see what we can capture. If we go into tables. Right, that seems to have done a very good job.
Yeah, because all that data is in fact being displayed in a table if you look at those HTML tags. So it's
exactly. So it's going to display quite nicely.
Yeah.
And then right at the beginning we have this link. There we go. And right at the end you can see the reference.
Yeah.
Okay, if we go into lists, what does lists give us? Not a lot actually. That's not much use.
Those are normally just for normally used lists for menus and bulleted items and things like that.
Right. Okay. What does he say? What's the guest going to give us? Ooh. Now that gives us a few odd things, but it's certainly not as good as tables. And certainly, I think tables here gives us everything we're going to need.
Yeah.
So no need to even think about scrapers. So,
but this is a really good thing to keep in mind, that if you take a look at this and go through those 3 choices, and there might be more, I don't know, you can see if that gets you the kind of information that you need or if you have to do anything in addition. And it just depends on who's ever put together the website information, how they've coded it.
Exactly, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. If you look at the blog of Paul Bradshaw, when he's talking about Outwit Hub, he sort of talks about dirty web pages, which are web pages that have not been put together very well. And he says you almost certainly always have to use scrapers to get the information from these pages. But scrapers can be useful for other things, even well-established web pages. There's still lots of hidden content behind them in the source code that can be really useful, which is something I really wanted to show you here. So what we'll do now is we've just got, I think we got, was it 291 items to find. Okay, to download. So let's go back to tables. We'll capture all that information. Now, you can't download anything until you put it into this field below, which is called the catch area. And to put this data in the browser into the catch area, just place your cursor over there. You'll immediately see it selects everything that's in there. We'll just quickly check there's no rubbish in there. It's just pure data, which I think it is. Yes. Okay. So, going back to here again, put your cursor into there. Basically what that's doing now is it's select row if any column contains anything, so it will select it. We could have said in here, if we wanted to select something specific, we could have said select row surname. I've just had a cup of tea brought me, isn't that lovely? If it contains and that's what that will do now. And you can say catch. And that has now moved those 100 items into the catch, ready to be exported.
So what you could do with that, for instance, is if that has brought up Soundex surnames or variant surnames, you can extract those surnames separately. So you can search for Keo with a U and Keo without a U, for instance, and do 2 separate catches and 2 separate exports.
Exactly,
yeah?
Yes. Or if you just wanted to find people in a certain county, for instance,
yep.
you could do it. You could do it within this application.
So it's like filtering the results, in effect.
It is, yes. So there we have the first 100. So then we just 2 ways of doing this. Now you can either go back to the page there and go to, is it next page? Yeah, next page there. Or you can just hit that button there, which I'm highlighting. There's a go to, that means load next page in series. Now I have found that on some websites that doesn't work, particularly on Family Search. It doesn't tend to work all the time, and you always have to go to the next page button, actually on the web page itself. But I think, excuse me. Excuse me. So let's try it. See if it works on this one. It's doing something. There we go. So there we have the next 100. So let's catch those. It's highlighted.
So that just adds the new content from the top window to the bottom window. So you haven't actually exported anything yet. You're just concatenating the data?
I am, yes. So I'm the next thing to do is to move these 100 into the catch as well. You see, I don't know whether you can see the catch currently contains 100 items.
Yeah.
So we need to catch this next 100. Now the catch has gone up to 200 now.
Now, does it put those at the end or the beginning? Or doesn't it? I suppose it doesn't really matter because you can sort them yourself anyway.
Yeah, we'll sort them later, so at the moment it doesn't really matter. Yeah.
Looks like William is still at the top, so Patrick is at the top on the second page, so he'll probably... So it does just pen them by the look of it. So.
Yeah, I'll just go to the bottom of that list, see what the names there. Oh, it says William at the bottom of the list. How odd.
Yeah, go to 101 and see if that's Patrick.
It is, yes.
Yes. So yeah, it does just drop them in at the end.
Yes. Okay. So we've got just another 91 to capture now. So we'll just hit the load next page again, as it's working in this particular instance. As you can see, it says 91 this time, so all correct, all present and correct. Catch that bunch. And now we have 291 items in the catch.
Yep.
Now if I just go to export now, all that will export is the last 91 items it caught. You have to be yes. I've fallen foul of that a couple of times. I've exported it, closed this program down, gone into Excel and found, oh, I've only got 91 of 3,000 things I've downloaded, and I've gone and closed Outwit Hub. and I've had to start all over again. So, just a warning. Click anywhere in the catch, click select all, then go to export. Okay, so in there you'll find the select all. And the export there gives you the option to export into 4 different types: Excel, CSV, which is comma separated variables, which can also be imported into Excel, but can also be imported into programs like Access and other databases. HTML, which will give you a web page, and SQL, which I'm not too clued up on, structured query language, which is for the people who are more into software, I think.
Oh, that's interesting. That could be very useful.
Oh. Okay, so we'll just export this as an Excel file. So there we go. Ask me what I want to save it as.
Yeah, we're not seeing those on the screen share, but that's fine. Doesn't
Right, okay, yes, you won't see that because another window popped up. Okay, so I'll just save it. I've saved it to my desktop. So that is a simple way of using Outwit Hub. What I'll quickly do now is pop into Excel and show you what I do with that. I do with that in Excel. So we're going to have to share a different page this time, aren't we? Okay, just bear with me a second while I pull that one up. Go back to here. Screen share. You should now see an Excel blankless screen.
Yep.
With that? Oh, good. Okay. And here we have the data in an Excel spreadsheet. Is that viewable okay?
Yes.
Nothing at the moment.
You can't see it?
Oh, I am.
I can't.
It's actually flicking about quite a bit on my screen.
I've got a blank Excel page.
Right. let me close a couple of windows down, might be easier. Oh dear. Close that down. Where's that gone?
Just as a little interesting aside, I've just put my one name into the 1901 Irish census, and I've got 2 results.
That's nice and easy.
So that's a dead easy scrape.
That's kind of funny because I would have thought there would be Spencer. Well, you don't use Spencer, so right? Okay. If you
I'm
put
not doing
Spencer, it would
I'm
work.
doing
Okay.
Lefebvre.
Okay.
There's 3 in the 1911. So.
Okay. It is interesting to find, when I did the World Profiler or whatever that was, it brought up all these people in Argentina, and I thought, when did we go hide out in that country?
Yep, that's come up now, Tony.
You got that now?
Yep.
Tessa, you got it?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay. Okay, so here we have the output from Outwit Hub, which is basically, I think, what you managed to extract by just a simple copy and paste.
I don't know that every piece of information was in there, though. I'm going to have to check that because I think you did get some information that I would have had to go back to the census for. But I'll take a look.
Okay.
A quick question first is why do you get 2 blank columns at the beginning?
I've absolutely no idea.
Okay.
This is something I tend to...
Because they've got 2 data items in them, R and P. Now, whatever they relate to, goodness only knows.
I don't know. What I tend to do as soon as I get a spreadsheet like this is I go and freeze the panes. Oh, it looks like it's already frozen, is it? Oh yes, it is. So I freeze the panes so that I can scroll up through the data and keep the header at the top. I tend to make the header double the size so that I can see what I'm doing. And then I switch on data, filter, autofilter. Okay, that puts a filter button at the top of every header.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Great.
Now, if you want to see if there's any, you might have 3,000-4,000 pieces of information down here. To see if there's anything at all in that column that might be of any use, click the down arrow. There's absolutely nothing because these are all the default Excel functions. All top 10, custom, blank, non-blanks. So we can safely get rid of that column. If we look at the P, exactly the same. So the first thing I would do is highlight those 2, get rid of them.
Yeah, if you noticed when you did your Outwit Hub export, in that little window to the right of the capture window at the bottom, there was in fact an R and a P mentioned there.
Right.
So obviously that's where that's come from, and we obviously need to explore Outwit Hub a bit more to understand why they were put in there.
What those are, yes, yeah. Okay. So on this one, this is the sort of information you might want to keep when you collected the data for that particular name, and also the source URL. Now you notice, having captured it in Outwit Hub. Oh, hang on. This is the source URL for the page. Sorry. Yes, I think you'll find every one of these is exactly the same. Let's go to the down arrow. Yeah, it doesn't actually find anything. That's strange. So, but I believe if we hit any one of these in this column, That's exactly the same information. So that's just the source URL for the actual page. So in this case, we can delete that one as well because we don't need it.
Well, you might want to keep where you got your information from. I tend to, and I guess it just depends on the person, but I like to keep each row of information like that, because if I don't keep all of the rows, say that I filter and I'm only looking for the kios that were in County Carlow or something, you know, I might get 2 responses back, but if I don't have that URL in there, I wouldn't know where I got it from. You know, if I'm giving it to somebody else. So
yeah, it's actually repeated in this next column, so
I've
retained. So you do actually find the URL there. That's that. So each one of these will actually be different.
Okay.
So you've got all these different URLs there associated with each name, so you can go back to it. Okay. But the good thing about this is it doesn't slow your Excel spreadsheet down because it hasn't actually put the URL in there. What you need to do is right-click, go to hyperlink, copy that. Copy doesn't work. Hang on, try that one. No. Control C works. And then Control V. Put it in there. Okay, and that is now a hyperlink. So what you're not doing here is you're not burdening your spreadsheet with lots of hyperlinks. So that's something that's quite useful. See, hyperlink is there, but it's not hyperlinked until you do it. But the interesting thing about this is where we got this number here at the end of the URL, and this is what we want to extract that and use it. So the easy way to do that, let's come back again. The easy way to do that is to insert a column. That is actually a blank column. Excel is actually extending this name through its cell into the next cell, but there's actually nothing in that cell. So we'll put a small function in there. If we use a function called mid, it'll become self-explanatory as soon as we get into it. Right, returns the characters from the middle of a text string given the starting position and length. Is that going to work? No, it's not going to work because each string could be different. Let's change that. Cancel that one. Instead of using mid, we'll try using right. Returns the specified number of characters from the right of a text string. So the text string we want to extract is from that previous cell, and the number of characters we'll extract is 7. Click OK. And there we have part of that reference number. Before we go any further, we'll just take that reference number, click on that black square there, and we'll drag it down right to the bottom of the page 291. Oh, lost it. What do I have? There we go. So now it's extracted that little piece of data, which can be very, very useful for sorting purposes. Might be an idea to get rid of that slash at the end. So what we could do here is we could, before we work on it, of course, it'd be ideal to convert that into a piece of text. So what we can do now, rather than have it as a formula that's working on that other cell, we'll do is we'll copy all those items, and we're going to paste them back into the same column, but we're going to use the paste special, and we're just going to paste values. So all this will paste back in is the actual number rather than the formula. Okay.
And that number refers to what?
That number refers to the household.
Okay.
So you can sort all these. If they were out of order, which it doesn't look as though they are, you could sort them back into households.
Okay.
If you do this on some sites, these can be quite often they give you the surnames in alphabetical order of the forename. So I think in this instance these are probably all in. Oh no, there's one out of order there, isn't there? Look.
Right, I am seeing some.
Yes, they are out of order. So this is going to enable you now to order them back into households. The other good thing is you might have 2 households in Coolderry Street. So you perhaps you'd have thought to begin with, I can order them all by Coolderry Street, but you could have maybe 2 Keoghs or even 3 or 4 different households of Keoghs in the same street. So this is a really good tool to make sure you get the right people into the right household. We haven't quite got rid of the slash yet.
Can you do that with a find and replace?
I was just going to say you.
Okay.
You beat me to it.
I go with the simple things. The macros and the functions are a little too difficult for me at this point.
Yeah. So just highlight that column, find what sort of find in slash, and we'll replace it with nothing. Replace all. So now you have a problem. It's got rid of the leading zeros. Yeah. So it hasn't quite done what we hoped it would do. So let's go back. Did you see that, Tessa? Yeah. So that's not going to cause will cause us a problem on our. So we can use another. Let's just insert another column. We'll go to a function, and this time we will go left. So all I've done here is look at either using left or right or mid to extract the text I need, and I'll use the best one. So this returns a specified number of characters from the start of a text string. So text is that one. And we want to extract the first 6 characters. So there we have it. So now we copy that down. To the end. Got rid of that trailing slash. So let's do a copy again. Copy that column, and then we'll go to edit, paste special again, and we'll just paste the values. Click OK, and there we have that.
Okay, and it keeps the zeros. Okay.
And it keeps the zeros this time as well. So we'll delete that column C because we no longer need it. And there we have them. So what that now gives us the ability to do is to go into data, sort. We have the headers, so we'll click the header row. Now, column C we haven't named anything, so it's just called column C. Click OK. Sort anything that looks like a number as a number. That should be okay. There we have it. All the Keoghs, hopefully, sorted by their household. Something else you might like to do, which is find out how many were in each county. Ooh, there's a nice county list there, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't it be nice to have that list there without typing it all in? It's a really easy way of doing that. And again, it's part of the filter function. Filter data. And in filter, you'll see there's an option called Advanced Filter. Don't be frightened of it because it says Advanced. It's not that difficult. Bring up the Advanced Filter. List range. Well, we want to look at the county range in H. We don't want to filter the list in place. We want to copy this list to another location. And we only want unique records. And where should we copy it to? We'll copy it to there. And you see how that's just put that into that list there. You just click OK. Oops, where's that gone? There we are. There's your list of counties. Another time saving.
Mm-hmm.
How many kios are in Antrim? What we can use here, we can use a function called COUNTIF. Counts the number of cells within a range that meet the given condition. So the range we want to look at is county again. Criteria. The condition that COUNTIF, the range we want to look at is that right? Yes. The criteria is Antrim, which is written up there. So you just click Antrim. It's already telling us what the answer is, 9. And there you have the answer, 9. How many are in all the other counties? Well, there's your answer.
That's great.
How many in total? 291, exactly what we extracted.
Okay. So that gives you a little bit of quality control as well.
It does, yes. And you can see from that how I developed my information on my blog of how many Timminses lived in what county, how many lived in which parish. You can do lots of things. You could even look at forenames. How often is a certain forename used?
So this is really useful to show that even if you don't start out at the point of scrapers, you might be uncomfortable, with all the bells and whistles in Outwit Hub. You can extract a lot of information just by working with the tables, especially if the website is, I don't know how to put this, but say well written.
Yeah. If the website is well constructed, you should be okay. You'll tend to find that most of the websites written by these professional companies now, like Ancestry and Find My Past, are pretty well written, but sometimes they're written too well because there's such a raft of information on there. Trying to extract it all in one scraper is very difficult, and sometimes you have to use 2 scrapers to do it. But I'm hoping to overcome that by reading up a bit more on some of the advanced things. Okay,
well, that's a really good introduction, at least for some of us who might be starting out with the Outwit Hub, of how to do it in a simple format.
Yes.
Thanks, that's good.
So I think we'll stop the broadcast at that point and then pull that together and edit it together, and I think that makes a very useful end to where we are at the moment, Tony. So thank you very much indeed for that.
Okay.
Okay.
No problem.
And then Tony, I think what